Hello everyone, and a very good evening to you wherever you're watching in the world, and welcome, a very big welcome to the Ferrari Hublot Esports series, because this is the grand finals. Can you believe it? The last weekend of racing. So exciting. My name is Nikki Shields. Alongside me is the wonderful Paul Jeffrey. Paul, this is so exciting, isn't it? Because this is also the first time we see our 12 AM drivers coming together with our 12 Pro drivers in the grand final. 24 drivers, but of course, only one is crowned the champion.
Hello, Nikki. Hello, everybody. Yeah, this is immense. This is what everybody has been working towards. As you say, the first time we've seen the Pro and the AMs together, 3 immense tracks, 3 immense opportunities to either win, lose or draw. So, yeah, cannot wait for grand finale time. And, of course, the championship all comes down to these 2 days. So let's have a look how we got to this point. Anybody could have joined this series, and they could join alongside the likes of reigning Formula 1 Esports champion David Tunitsa, his teammate Enzo Benito, to join the Ferrari Driver Academy Hublot Esports Series team. And Nikki, it's just massive, isn't it? It's just massive, this opportunity.
Yeah, it really is. And I think we had over 20,000 entrants to try and compete and get into this competition, which is fantastic. And thank you again for all trying to participate. I think, you know, initially the way you got involved, you had to register just on the Ferrari Esports Series GG website. And then there were the hot lap qualifiers, which is when I think the hard work really started. Then, of course, once the driver qualified, you then had to finish within the top 6 of those knockout races. Then you got through to the 4-round championship, and this of course is the last set of races in that journey, in the grand final. And we've got the top 12 from the AM against the top 12 from the Pro racing head to head today, which is just, you know, super exciting. Those 12 AM series drivers and 12 Pro series drivers, all at 3 different tracks. We've got Mugello and the Nordschleife for this evening, and then tomorrow we're going to be racing at Monza. So an intense few days, and actually really exciting, because we have a little sneak preview of access to the trophy, a unique trophy that is designed by Ferrari to award the winners of this first esports championship. Let's have a little look.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. That looks brilliant. And Nikki, the drivers will be giving their all to try and win this trophy at the end of these 2 days of racing, won't they?
They really will. I've always wondered, though, if you have a virtual trophy, do you then have a virtual trophy cabinet at home? I wonder. Well, anyway, before we get started, I think it's time to have a little look back at the race recap of the last Pro-Am Series race out at Spa.
We are indeed. The drivers are looking at the timing gantry. They're waiting for these red lights to go green to start the 4th round of the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series Pro race. And it's a great start from Arnaud Lecombe. Once again, our pole position man goes to the outside of the circuit, covers the line, into the dangerous La Source hairpin on this opening lap. The field streams through the first corner, down to the run into the most famous section of corners in world motorsport. Eau Rouge and Radion, will they be going too wide? Will they go single file as they try and find their way, pick their line through the corners? Lecombe is leading from Kamil Pawlowski. In second place, Giovanni De Salvo retains his 3rd place starting position as they run down to Lecombe. Everybody trying to use the slipstream, jockey for position on the race course. These are 20 drivers at the end. We're looking at this moment in time, currently running in 15th position in the running order, goes to the outside of Alex Tarato. There's no space there, but Tarato runs a little bit deep into the bus stop chicane. He's compromised on corner exit. Cavillon trying to find one way and then the other. She's running in virtual reality once again, so she can get a good all-round field of view of what's happening at this beautiful Circuit de Spa Francorchamps circuit. Watches her braking point nice and tight into the La Source hairpin. Had to have a couple of bites of the cherry there, almost made contact with the inside wall, and for Cavillon, that has compromised her for this long uphill run through Eau Rouge and Radion, and that has allowed Parker. So Parker now in 16th position, has got a run coming down. He's got 8 points to his name, so he's 2 points ahead of Chirello in 12th, who's the man on the bubble. Gamel needs this result. He needs these points, but he's seen Samuel Ratz ahead in the yellow Ferrari. Ratz now all over the back of Simeone. These two are going to start slowing each other down. Samuel Ratz goes to the inside into Bruxelles, makes contact with Simeone. Simeone facing the wrong way. Ratz again pushes the car in the right direction, and just like now, in 10th position, has got a faceful of Scotland's Josh Martin. Simeone looking to the outside into the bus stop chicane. Martin gives him as little room as he can get away with it. They're both inch perfect on the brakes. Simeone has the inside to a degree, makes contact with the left rear quarter of Josh Martin. That puts the Scotsman out wide on corner exit. Martin now on the defensive, coming down into the La Source hairpin. Simeone in the dark blue car on the outside. Martin on the light blue car on the inside. Josh Martin spots his braking zone absolutely beautifully and goes ahead to lead. Simeone still not giving up the fight, thinking about it on the run to Eau Rouge. That would be ill-advised in the extreme, but can Simeone get the run he needs over Radion at the top of the hill? No, he can't. Josh Martin lives to fight just another day under increasing pressure from seemingly everybody behind him.
Lovely, brilliant battle there. And I got to say, so Alex Torato, who's down in P13 at the moment, I was looking at his sort of form that he filled in when he applied and registered to be part of this competition. And interestingly, he's actually included a quote from Michael Schumacher, which says, "I've always believed that we should never give up and keep fighting even when there's a small, very small chance."
Loses the curb on the outside, but I fear it's too far to make up as we look at our race winner. This is Arnaud Lecomte. 4 races, 4 race victories, unsurpassed at Spa-Francorchamps. He has won everything that has been laid out in front of him. Arnaud Lecomte. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And we are about to take into the circuit, the track action for the final race of the AM Championship. The drivers are on the grid. The starting lights are about to flash up on your screen. They will go red, then they will go clear, and the cars will begin the final race of the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series from Spa-Francorchamps. Gianfranco Gilioli converts pole position into a lead down into the braking point, into the La Source hairpin. Everybody fans out at the back of the circuit, trying to find room, trying to find track position as they work their way up for the beginning of this race. Gilioli leads from Damalco in second position, and Dominic Blagere is in third place as per qualification. One by one they go through the Eau Rouge. We see a car off in the middle of Eau Rouge. That is a big accident. We go on the grass now. One of the cars in the most fastest part of the racetrack gets sideways in Eau Rouge. Thankfully manages to avoid being collected by the rest of the field. Has been fanned down now into Lecomte for the very on screen. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but Damalco, who was running up the sharp end, is currently a lap behind in 18th, so he's had a little bit of problem, but we'll worry about that one in a minute, because Numa Natale is the meat in a Ferrari sandwich. He's got Schill in front of him, Tanitsa behind him. Natale runs wide. That opens the door for Michael Tanitsa, who steals in and takes the position. Numa Natale under pressure, trying to find a way past the car ahead, makes a mistake, and now he's under significant pressure. Romangoli ahead for third before he starts making his way up in the next 22 minutes and change.
Now, we've seen already how difficult it is to pass here at this track, but where do you think, Paul, if he's going to make his move, where would you recommend he does it? Where do you think he's going to have the most opportunity?
Well, from Romangoli's mistake, I think here, Nikki, down the inside. Fantastic timing. That could not have been scheduled. Brilliant stuff, but actually he ran a little bit wide, did Jano Koch. That's allowed Romangoli to get a good run coming out of La Source. They're going too wide into Eau Rouge. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Koch on the outside, makes a little bit of contact, gets the car sideways, survives that one with nothing short. He is indeed not making a mistake, but now we see that Amuthan runs a little bit wide in the corner with no name. That opens the door for Switterich up the inside, into the left-hander. Switterich gets the rear end, trying to overtake the front, manages to balance the car. Enough space was given by Amuthan, and Switterich, Marcian Switterich, makes almost an impossible overtaking manoeuvre possible. Great piece of driving, a little bit of paint rubbing, and that all came from a mistake from Anjan Amuthan into the corner with no name. Ran a little bit bit deep, less traction on the AstroTurf on the outside of the corner to the death. But this man, Gianfranco Gilioli, takes the checkered flag to win the final race of the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series. Championship, and look at his face. He is delighted. That is a dominant performance from Gianfranco Gilioli. Fantastic result. He knows how much that means to him. Dominic Blagier is in second place as this fight between Natali and Tanitsa comes down to the chicane. Natali makes the same mistake again. Too late on the brakes, rejoins the circuit, allows Tanitsa to recover into 13th place.
Oh, such a brilliant race, such an iconic track, and some fantastic race action there, and brilliant to see a new race winner, Gianfranco Gilioli, there taking the win in Spa. But now let's take a look at the final standings for the Pro and Am Series, and there we have it, the Pro Series with Arnaud Lecomte on top. 4 straight wins. Unbelievable. A full points haul of 100 points to his name. So you can see there highlighted in the white, they are the top 12 drivers from the standings that are going through to the grand final. Josh Martin from the United Kingdom just making it through there. And then we've got the Am Series standings. Jano Koch there with 3 wins out of 4. Not bad. Up there at the top. So they're at the top 8 going through to the grand final. And then, of course, you can see again that names in white are the other 4 remaining drivers. So that gives us 24 drivers going through to the grand final. And actually, I think a few of them wanted to say a quick hello to everyone. Let's take a look and meet our top 24 drivers.
Ciao, sono Corrado Cirillo.
Ciao, sono Danilo Santoro.
Ciao, sono Marco Panero.
Sziasztok, Morvai Norbert vagyok.
Cześć, z tej strony Dominik Bleier.
Hallo, ich bin Torben Peschke.
Moin, mein Name ist Jano Koch.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Arnaud Lacombe.
Ciao, sono Giorgio Simonini.
Hello, I'm Josh Martin.
Hallo zusammen, ich bin Chris Höke.
Hello, I'm Tarek Gimio.
Ciao a tutti, sono Michael Romagnoli.
Ciao, sono Leonardo Dalcamo.
Hola a todos, soy Gianfranco Gilioli.
Salut tout le monde, c'est Thomas Sibilia.
Ciao, sono Giovanni Salvo.
Cześć, jestem Kamil Pawłowski.
Cześć, nazywam się Marcin Świderek.
Cześć wszystkim, jestem Wojciech Łukaszek.
Hola a todos, soy Jesús Sicilia.
Ciao a tutti, sono Andrea Benedetti.
Well, and hello to all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us, and welcome to each and every one of our drivers to the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series Grand Final. So much luck to you. Hope it all goes well, and we cannot wait to see which one of you will be crowned the winner today. Now, super exciting because here with us before racing gets underway, we are going to be speaking to Jano Koch, the Am Series winner, and also Arnaud Lecomte, the Pro Series winner. So let's say a big hello to both of them and see how they're feeling. Guys, hello, how are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. First off, if I may, Jano, you're the Am Series champion, and as the champion, there's a bit of a target on your back. How are you finding the pressure representing the series coming into this grand finale?
Yeah, the pressure is okay, you know. At the moment, I think that I am not really the fastest. I think that Lecomte and De Salvo is maybe faster. So I think the pressure is on them, not on me.
Wow, okay, there we go. Well, let's see what Lecomte has to say to that. So obviously we've heard Jano say that the pressure's actually on you. What do you think? And are you going to be approaching this race to any different to the main series competition? Because also let's remember that you had a complete clean sweep. You won every single of those 4 races.
No, not really. I do all my races as a grand final. I always give my maximum. Just more pressure today, maybe, but I still put a lot of pressure on myself. So let's see.
Yeah, I must say I do like the way how you both celebrate completely differently. Arnaud, you're always very serious, whether you're winning, which you always seem to do, and then Jano, we like the little sort of fist pump when you win.
And actually, Jano, that brings me on to a really good question for you. Obviously, massive pressure, grand finale day, and the prize is a drive for the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series, Ferrari Driver Academy Esport team, what would it mean to you if you won that, to get that amazing opportunity to drive for Ferrari?
Yeah, I think we are all here, you know, to be that. But yeah, anyone wants to be there, and yeah, it would be an honor. But first of all, we need to finish the races.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Nacon, what would you say to that?
So sorry, I don't understand.
No, would you agree? How much would this mean to you, winning a prize like becoming part of the Ferrari Driver Academy?
It would be a dream. I would be very proud to represent Ferrari. This brand made me dream for a very young age, and gave me a taste of motorsport. So you can see my passion for red cars.
Excellent. Well, you're in the right place then. Guys, thank you so much for talking to us, because I know it must be a pretty nerve-wracking time, moments before the race. But thank you so much, and we wish you all the best.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Well, we've already seen the names and faces and had a nice little wave from our finalists. But now let's take a look at that final entry list with their cars. That beautiful Ferrari 488 Evo Challenge. Right, okay, so up first is Jano Koch in car number 37 in that beautiful yellow Ferrari.
Jano Koch is the number 96 Arab Series champion.
Next up from Italy, we have Giovanni De Salvo in car number 4.
Number 89 is Gianfranco Giglioli, winner last time out at Spa-Francorchamps.
Kamil Pawlowski, one of the Polish drivers in the 92 car.
In number 18 in the fetching blue car is Dominic Blyer.
In the number 17, lovely red Ferrari, we've got Daniel Santoro.
And Marco Pinero takes the number 31, another one of our AM representatives.
Giorgio Simeoni is going to be looking to put some more points on the board today to finish in the top.
Michael Romangoli takes the number 78 488 Challenge Evo.
Jesus Cilia, number 28 in a red Ferrari.
Leonardo Di Malco in the number 73 bright yellow machine will be lining up for these 3 races.
Kevin Scolari in the number 11 is going to be again looking to get some more points because he had a tough time out the last few races.
Norbert Marvai is representing number 91 in the grand finale.
Corrado Ciriello, another one of our Italian drivers, is in the 93.
Andrea Benedetti takes the number 32 for Italy.
And for Germany, we've got Chris Hoke in the number 8 car.
Thomas Sibilia is in P15, number 15.
Tarek Emil, it's been brilliant to watch him across the course of this championship. He is in the number 77.
And in number 59 is Germany's Torben Peschke.
Another one of the Italian drivers in the 14 car is Cesar Penco.
Number 72 goes to Marcian Swiderick.
And finally, all the way from the UK, we have Josh Martin in the number 23.
And Wojciech Lukaszek takes the black Ferrari, number 65.
Okay, so now we know the players, we've seen the cars. I think it's probably time to check the lap overview of this first race at the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mugello.
At 5.3 kilometres in length, the Mugello Grand Prix circuit is a stern test of driver skill and commitment. Down into turn 1 San Donato, fast on corner entry, second gear, hard on the gas. For turns 2 and 3, hit the apex at a great velocity as you balance the car through the second part of the chicane for the run down into Matarassi. Third gear, lift the throttle on corner exit, switch up to fourth gear for the run down into Casanova. Fourth gear on corner entry, 140 kilometres an hour as you power the car through the beautiful double left-hander of Arabata 1 and 2. In fourth gear, maximum attack, running down into turns 11 and 12. The car gradually picks up speed as you run into the long swooping right-hand hairpin at corner 12. Third gear, keep the car towards the apex for a good run down through the flat-out chicane at the penultimate section of corners before the ever-tricky, ever-challenging final turn. Pick your racing line, pick up the throttle nice and early to complete a lap at one of the driver's favourite circuits at Mugello.
Wow, what a beautiful track there. Very technical track there. I mean, there's so much elevation. And how hard is it going to be, Paul, for these drivers to get that sequence of corners right?
Yeah, it's an old school track, Mugello. It's one of those ones where, as you say, the sequences of corners, you've got to hit the first apex, get the run through for the second one and the third one, and it all impacts on lap time, Nicky. It is a visually beautiful track and also a great experience to drive on as well, and the drivers will be loving it, and it should produce some great racing, I hope.
Yeah, some great racing, and definitely it's going to test the capabilities of our drivers for sure. But now it's time to take a look at the qualifying results for today's grand final race.
So, Arnaud Lecombe, once again, is our pole position man with a 151.710. Gianni Di Salvo lines up second on the grid with Kamil Pawlowski and Dominic Blegier rounding out row 2 for this opening race from Mugello. Jano Koch of Germany is in 5th position with Gianfranco Giglioli in 6th place on the 3rd row of the grid. Danilo Santoro is in 7th with Leonardo D'Alcamo in 8th position on the grid. Marcian Swiderich is 9th, and in 10th place we have Wojciech Lukaszek from Poland, 0.5 seconds away from pole position. Michael Romangoli is in 11th place, and Thomas Similia from France is P12, 0.6 from the ultimate pace. Marco Pinero, P13, and Torben Pesch in 14th position for the first race of the season. Norbert Morvai in P15th, Chris Hockey in P16th, 0.8 seconds away from the ultimate pace, ahead of Italy's Andrea Benedetti and Tarek Gamil from Ireland in P18, just under 1 second from pole. Corrado Chirello is P19, Scotland's Josh Martin lines up on the grid in 20th position, Kevin Ciccolari in 21st, Cesare Penco in P22, in 23rd position, Jesus Cecilia and Giorgio Simonini in 24th on the grid.
All right, so that's how our drivers are going to be lining up on the grid in today's race in Mugello, which means there's only one thing left to say. It is time to hit the track and let the action commence.
Mugello, one of, if not the most beautiful atmospheric racetracks in the world. Recently returning to the Grand Prix calendar for the very first time, owned by the mighty brand that is Ferrari, and scene of many a test day, a motorbike racing event, and national and international races. And now we're playing host to the first race of the 2 days of finals in the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series. And Nikki, look at these beautiful shots. What a track.
Absolutely stunning. Get me to that sun and blue sky, please, because it's a very different story sitting at home where I am right now. It's freezing. But it is, honestly, it's one of the most stunning tracks. And as you say, you know, the fact that it's a Ferrari track as well makes it oh so special.
It is indeed, and very special indeed for these 24 drivers. We've got the pro drivers and the AM drivers, the top 12 from each championship. As we mentioned at the start of the show, they've qualified. They're lining up on the grid. The adrenaline is rising. The red lights are about to come on the top of your screen. Finals day number 1 Race 1 is about to begin from the Mugello Grand Prix circuit. The red lights are on. They will go clear. The drivers will put their foot flat to the floor. There's smoke from the rear of the tyres. Our pole position man, Arno Lecomte, takes an early race lead. He heads down into San Donato, the first corner. Everybody's trying to get a slipstream behind the back of that yellow Ferrari. We're going wide to the outside. Is De Salvo on the outside line. 2 by 2 coming through San Donato. This will turn into the left of the chicane. Lecomte now under pressure from De Salvo. Can they go too wide and avoid contact? Yes, they do. 2 by 2 formation. Lecomte just about manages to scrape through in the race lead. De Salvo manages to retain second position. He has been chased hard by Dominic Blagier in third place. Kamil Pawlowski rounding out the top 4 in the dark blue Ferrari at the back of this shot. We've said this before, Nicky, and I dare say we're going to say it again. Arno Lecomte takes an early race lead.
He is just a phenomenal driver, isn't he? He just manages to start this race with perfection every single time. I'm waiting for the cracks to show, but they never really do. Brilliant start from him and the rest of the drivers. A lovely clean start to start off the grand finals. And I'm just really excited to see where Lecomte is going to go with this race. And yeah, what performance we can see from the other drivers. Can they challenge him? I think is the big question of today. Which driver can challenge Arno Lecomte?
That's exactly right, and as we well know, Mugello is not the most straightforward circuit on which to overtake, so Arno Lecomte is in the pound seats, but this man that we're riding on board with now, Gianni De Salvo, is the principal challenger heading down to the conclusion of the opening lap. De Salvo will be giving it his absolute everything to find a way past. Here's Roman Goli now that we're looking at in 10th position. Remember, ladies and gentlemen at home, points make prizes in this championship. There are 3 races. They will be scored across the 3 races, so anything you can do to try and up your score heading into the 3rd and final race tomorrow will be critical for you. We're looking now at Roman Goli. Looks to the inside. That is defended by Swinarich ahead. It goes outside. Try and makes Marcy and Swinarich run deep into San Donato, which is something that we see now with Josh Martin. Josh Martin on the outside line, trying to find the inside. There are battles throughout the field into the chicane. Roman Goli has made his way up into 9th position. Roman Goli now, though, on the defensive again, coming into the chicane, manages to get 1 by 1 formation through the tight and very high speed chicane, and Roman Goli 9th position. Some great racing throughout the field, fighting for every square inch of tarmac.
Yeah, and I just love this sequence of corners here. You know, you set yourself up correctly and you're going to do really well. But of course, it's so easy to make that mistake. Roman Goli is doing incredibly well here. One man who we're not really seeing at the moment much of is Jano Koch, who of course was at the top of the leaderboard for our AM series, but he's currently down in 13th position, which is out of the points. So he's going to be really disappointed with his start today. But fingers crossed he can claw it back in the course of this race. 26 minutes still to go, so you never know where he might do, but I know he's got a lot weighing on his shoulders right now.
Yeah, Jano Koch has really shown outstanding form so far in the precursor championship, so to speak, and he won that series. But now we're in to the Pro and the AM finals. You saw the concentration on his face that Jano Koch is famous for, and 13th is no good to him at this stage in proceedings. We know he's got the speed. We know he knows how to cope with the pressure, but he's trying to chase down Norbert Morvai, a driver that he's raced against before, as Arno Lecomte once again sets the fastest lap, and this is a great opportunity for Koch. The back straight on here, this Mugello circuit is incredibly long. He'll be looking to get the slipstream. He's not quite close enough to attack the car ahead. Morvai has the line covered into T1. Koch now painting the Ferrari onto the rear of Morvai's machine ahead. Gets the back end out a little bit on the brakes, a little bit too enthusiastic on the gas, and Jano Koch knows in this short 30-minute race he's got to do everything and more to get up into those points paying positions, and Jano Koch is a man that has got it all to do.
Yeah, he really does, and we know how hard it is. Overtaking opportunities, they do not come easy in this championship. The caliber of drivers is in the top, 0. Whatever percent. These guys are the best sim racers out there. As we've mentioned before, 20,000 people trying to compete to become a part of this. So this really is the cream of the crop. So to work your way up this grid is going to be a real challenge. But of course, there are 3 races in these grand finals. So there are 75 points up for grabs. So if he doesn't do so well today, this evening, he does have the second race at the Nordschleife a little bit later, but it still means it's going to be very difficult, especially when you've got someone like Lecombe, who has already put, nearly over half a second gap ahead at the front.
And we were riding on board there, Nicky, for a little while, and Norbert Morvai, this man, the number 91 Ferrari, in the middle of this fight. Morvai seesawing at the wheel. He's not quite got a car as stable as he would like, and that's put him under pressure now. Jano Koch tries to go around the outside into the final turn. That is not going to be an overtaking opportunity, and I fear now that Jano Koch is maybe compromising himself a little bit coming down the start-finish straight. We're riding on board with the yellow Ferrari. Now he's got a good run coming into turn 1, shows his nose nice and early up the inside. Morvai leaves the door open. Jano Koch comes off the brakes, releases the brake pedal a little bit, allows the car up the inside, and actually Norbert Morvai was sleeping in that overtaking manoeuvre, should never have conceded that position, left the door wide open, and the driver of the skill, of the talent, of the confidence of Jano Koch will not see that opportunity and allow it to go begging. That means Jano Koch is now in 12th position. Next man on the list to attack is Pinheiro in 11th, and then that all-important top 10 heading just a little bit further down the road. But Norbert Morvai will be kicking himself for that one. That is a gift that you cannot afford to give away at this level of competition.
He will indeed, but I'm sure I love always watching Jano Koch because he does this little fist pump when things go in his way. So hopefully he has a little smile on his face at the moment. Anyway, well, that looks like a face of concentration. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. The fist pump comes later when he actually gets the results at the end of the race. But interesting that he's had quite a few battles with Marco Pinheiro in the past, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. And also just a reminder to everyone, of course, that everything gets set back to 0 in these grand finals. We're not accumulating points from past races. The grand finals, everything is back on 0. So these drivers are technically all on a level playing field at the moment with 0 points to their name.
Yep, that's exactly right, and I would like to hazard a wager that when we do the end of season highlights or any memes or anything, when Nicky Shields says Jano Koch will have a slight smile, and then we see a picture of him as far away from smiling as is humanly possible to do while he's concentrating. Jano Koch is a man that's really focusing on the task in hand, as is this guy, Kamil Pawlowski, currently in 4th position. So Pawlowski having a very solid start to his race weekend. Is 2 days of grand finale action here in the Ferrari Hublot Esports series, and he's closing down Tom de Blazier ahead. And Giovanni Di Salvo, actually looking at the timing screens, has dropped now to almost a second away from the back of Arnaud Lecombe. So Lecombe, the machine that Arnaud Lecombe, Frenchman Arnaud Lecombe is slowly but surely walking away from the field at the front of this race in the first 10 minutes of the event. But Kamil Pawlowski, he'll be wanting a podium because, Nicky, we said it at the start of the show, the Nordschleife that comes straight after this race is such an incredible, a difficult, a weird, a bizarre combination of racetrack compared to what the drivers are used to. Even a 4th or a 5th position here, your rivals could have very easily an absolute disaster next time out. So it's so important to get as good a position as you can and play to your own strengths on tracks that you know you're strong at.
Yeah, that is a very good point, Paul. You know, the fact that obviously that lap is so long, it's difficult to prepare in the same way that you would, you know, when the tracks are much shorter in all the other races that we've been at so far. You can prepare a lot better. So I don't know how much time these drivers are putting in. I know a lot of them are very dedicated, but to get good at the Nordschleife, you need to put in days, hours, weeks, months of preparation to be at the best, you know, to be fighting at the top.
Yes, you do indeed, and now Jano Koch once again looking to make his way up. He's already overtaken Morvai, and now he's all over the back of Pinheiro, heading down into T1. The same move as we saw last time, up the inside, telegraphs it nice and early, spots his braking point, keeps the car on a sensible line, gets a good run out of the corner into the chicane, and that is Jano Koch once again moving his way up the field, now in 11th position. Pinheiro behind is suddenly under pressure from Morvai, so that will clear a little bit of space behind Jano Koch as he starts to work his way onto the back of Romangoli in 10th. He was 9th, remember, Romangoli, so he's lost a further position to his rivals, and Jano Koch very much a man on the move as we're looking now at Norbert Morvai, currently in 13th position, heading into the double right-hander, very, very fast on corner entry, a little bit of a lift into the second part of the corner just to keep the car nice and balanced and stable. Don't run too wide out onto the AstroTurf and potentially onto the grass. And Norbert Morvai, we've seen him already, he's got a very loose race car underneath him, controlling the opposite lock through the middle of the corner, but that seems to be working for the driver at this moment in time. But he'll need to convert that liveliness behind the wheel into some more forward momentum if he wishes to score some points from this opening encounter of finals day for the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series.
I'm also really intrigued to see how the drivers are going to do. I mean, I know they're used to doing probably several races in a day, but they've never done it with the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series. So the fact that we've got today's race and then we've got another one they haven't got much of a break, probably half an hour between. So they'll have to go from one straight into the other, maybe have a quick cup of tea in between. But whether the tiredness will kick in and whether the lack of concentration might kick in, it'll be very interesting to see.
Yes, it will. It really will. It's a new element to our drivers, something new for them to contend with. In fact, half an hour would be generous. It's actually just a matter of minutes between the two races. So quick time for a comfort break, quick time to just get your focus together, and then you're off again. But we've still got 18 minutes left on the clock in this one. Lecom is our race leader. Gianni Di Salvo in P2, Blager in third, Pavlovsky in fourth position, Gianfranco Giglioli is in fifth place, Daniel Santoro in sixth, Demalco in seventh, Lukasek in eighth position, Swinnerich in ninth, and Romangoli rounds out the top 10. And this man Jano Koch, 11th position in the field at the moment. He's the man that is on the move in these early stages of the race. Jano Koch fighting hard to get back in that 10th place. Look at the gap. He's already pulled out from Pinheiro that he overtook just 2 laps ago. So Koch has got the pace, but has he got the mentality? Has he got the bravery to move up through the field? That is the big question that we'll be looking to answer in the next 17 minutes and change.
Yeah, exactly. Almost halfway through. So he's really got to work his way up the grid because, of course, there is so much at stake here. A reminder, the winner of these grand finals becomes part of the Ferrari Driver Academy esports team. Now, that is such a prestigious prize. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This, it will change your life. You know, this really is something that all of these drivers are desperate to become part of. So it really is a pretty big weekend for these drivers today.
It is, and you can never ever account for how pressure affects a driver, their preparation. You start to tense up a little bit, things don't become quite as natural as they normally do, and that's something that we have to take into account because, as you say, Nikki, and you've hit the nail absolutely on the head, this is a life-changing opportunity for these drivers, and it all comes down to their on-track performance, so they will know they're so close to potentially taking home that big prize of a space in the Ferrari Driver Academy eSport team. They can almost taste it, and that very much affects sports people in different ways. For Ferrari's point of view, what they want to see is a driver that can soak up and use that pressure as a positive to get a better performance, because don't forget, once they've won this competition, whoever that might be, at the end of this 2 days of racing, they're going to be representing Ferrari in the world of esports where the pressure is intense every single day. So this will be a great test of, can they perform when the heat is very much on.
Yeah, I mean it's a really good point actually. You know, it's very well winning the prize, but then of course you've actually got to do the role. You've got to deliver. You've suddenly got bosses at Ferrari, so you really need to be able to continue your performance and do a great job when you get to win such a prestigious prize. You then need to obviously be able to deliver, which I'm sure these drivers will be able to do, but it will be a very different experience, that's for sure.
Right, let's have a look. So we've turned past the halfway mark in this race now. We already know that Jano Koch is at the head of the field. We've spoken about the top 10. Jano Koch, who we're looking at the moment. Reminder time for anybody who's maybe just tuning into the broadcast for the first time and just engaging in the Ferrari Hublot Esports series for the first time. Jano Koch is the winner of the AMP Championship that preceded this race. One of arguably the favourites to do well in this series. He's qualified much lower than he initially hoped to have done heading into Mugello, but he's slowly but surely making his way through the field. He's 11th at the moment, so outside of the big points paying positions, he'll need to make an overtake on Romain Gole ahead of him in the next 14 minutes if he wants to get his name on the board early doors in this race. Josh Martin, another driver from the pro category that we saw a little bit earlier on in the race, he's now dropped to the back of the field, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to Josh Martin, but a little bit of a mistake or contact or some sort of delay incident has dropped Josh down to 20th position. That's not a good start for Martin. But now look, we're looking at Jano Koch. He is all over the back of Romain Gole ahead of him. This is not the ideal place to effect an overtake. What Koch will need to do is stay as close as he possibly can into the next few corners to get that slipstream down the start-finish straight to put himself in the best position possible to overtake into T1. This is the penultimate chicane, flat out near enough in one of these cars. The downforce will be reduced because of the slipstream of the car ahead and the dirty air. The final corner, a long, swooping left-hander. Many different lines a driver can take into this corner. What Koch has done is tried to square it off to get the best run possible down the long start-finish straight, which seems to be working very well for Jano Koch. He's firmly in the slipstream of Romain Gole ahead of him. Now, will he show his nose nice and early, telegraph the move as we've seen previously? Yes, he does, but Romain Gole good on the brakes. We look a little bit further back, and Pinheiro and Morvaya going side by side into T1 for 12th and 13th behind this fight, so that one continues as well. Koch will be disappointed that he's not being in a position to get the overtakes, but looking at Morvaya now, getting mugged by almost everybody. Morvaya in 13th, now 14th, now 15th. Sorello, Sibilia, Pinheiro all finding a way past. Norbert Morvaya needs to regather his composure. He's dropping like a stone.
Oh, what a disappointment for Morvaya, because we've seen some brilliant championship fights from him over the past month or so. But I think the fight is still there. He's not giving up that easily. Brilliant battles there on track, though. This is why we love this racing so much, because, again, due to the competitive nature, they just provide the best kind of racing there is. So wheel to wheel, yeah, nose to tail, brilliant stuff.
Yeah, it really is. The drivers are of the absolute highest caliber. The Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo. Remember, this is a car built especially for this championship by Kunos, who make Assetto Corsa. It's an incredible car in the real world and in the virtual space as well. Just encourages outstanding close racing. It's kind of like a GT, it's kind of like a touring car. It's a tin top where you can run door handle to door handle, side to side, nose to tail. And Cirello now is a man on the move. He's in 15th position. We're riding on board with Corrado Cirello now, coming through the final corner. Gets a little bit of opposite lock, just drifting the car through the turn, trying to get a good run, coming down onto the back straight. We've already highlighted San Donato T1 as pretty much the primary overtaking opportunity, and Morvaya just ahead of him, so he's lost a couple of positions, has Norbert Morvaya in the last lap, but he can see the fight between Pinheiro and Sibilia ahead. getting increasingly fraught. So Norbert Morvai just taking stock of the situation for a moment, just keeping the car nice and neat, nice and clean, seeing how these two pan out in front of him, and I dare say Norbert Morvai fancies his chances of making some kind of overtake if the two cars ahead hold each other up. They're fighting tooth and nail, they're outside of the points, but of course there's also a little bit of racing pride as well. We've got 2 more races after this one. We've got the Nordschleife straight after this race this evening, and then we're going to Monza on Saturday evening for the grand final of the grand finale. So again, you need to show your rivals that you're someone not to be messed with. Sibilia now all the way up the inside. This is a great opportunity for Sibilia into the braking zone, a very small braking zone, but he's got the inside line. Norbert Morvai got the best seat in the house, but he's got Corrado Serrano trying to find his way past as well. Someone watching an overtake while defending an overtake at the same time. Pinheiro now finds himself up the inside. Morvai finds himself up the inside, and this is a 4-way fight outside of the points, but spectacular driving from all 4 of these brilliant esport racers.
Oh, so good to see. And while all of that is going on back there, we've got Arnaud Lacombe 1.5 seconds up front. I mean, what a phenomenal performance. Very much expected from him, though, because we never seem to see anything other than a perfect performance from him. But brilliant to see. Yeah, he's just pulling away at the front, doing what he does best, staying out of trouble and making up the extra time.
Yeah, Arnaud Lacombe, as you say, I don't want to give him a commentator's curse, but never seems to put a foot wrong at the front of the field. And now, actually, just for a second to interrupt myself, Jano Koch is back on the attack again. So we saw him make early progress in the first few laps of this race. It's taken him a little bit of a while to suss out exactly what Romain Goli ahead is capable of, where he's faster, where he's slower, where the opportunities will present themselves. And in a competition of this level, when you start to get in and around the top 10 placing, that's when the calibre of driver is so incredibly high. They don't make mistakes. You can't force them to run deep into a corner and just cruise past on corner exit. You've got to work the overtake, and overtake comes 2 laps before the physical move itself, while you set your rival up, and that is exactly what Jano Koch is doing now. He's showing his nose up in the corner, allowing Romain Goli, or forcing Romain Goli to be considering what's happening behind him rather than focusing on what's happening ahead of him. What Koch will be looking to do now is compromise the lines of the car. He has done. Romain Goli goes wide onto the gravel, out of 9th position, drops down to 10th. He'll be 11th, sorry. He's outside of the points, so Romain Goli makes a mistake too deep into the corner, skirts over the gravel. That'll be the easiest overtake of Jano Koch's race weekend, I am sure. And now, Marcin Spinarich, next man on the list, 7 minutes and 20 seconds in the bag in which to do it.
What a disappointment there for Romain Goli. He's going to be absolutely kicking himself. But I think this is what I love about this championship, is that Romain Goli, he works as a cook. He's not a professional sim racing driver. He doesn't work in the world of motor racing. He's a cook. So this, again, for him is a passion project. It's something that he does in his own time. And yeah, this could, again, be a life-changing opportunity. I think we're on board now with Giglioli.
We are indeed. So remember the absolute euphoric delight of Gianfranco Giglioli last time out at Spa-Francorchamps when he took that long overdue race victory. Well, looking like in P5 at this moment in time, race victory at Mugello might be a little bit of a stretch for Gianfranco, but he's in a very strong point scoring position. There's 6.5 minutes just under left on the clock, and slowly but surely we've seen Gianfranco Giglioli close down the gap to the 4 leading cars ahead. Karol Pawlowski is the next man on the list for Gianfranco Giglioli. Pawlowski not quite showing the ultimate pace of the podium positions. If you remember rightly, at the start of this race, Karol was chasing down that 3rd place. Unfortunately, he's dropped back a little bit now into the clutches of Giglioli in 5th place. Well, looking at DeMalco now in 7th place, chasing down Santoro for a top 6 position. So DeMalco is a man on the move. He's using all of the curb, and more through the chicane. He'll go wide into the last corner, square it off now, harsh onto the apex, get the best run possible, heading down the start-finish straight. He's maybe not quite got enough of a gap to the car ahead to use that slipstream to drag himself up to the back of Santoro's Ferrari ahead of him. Maybe he's carrying a little bit more downforce. Maybe he didn't quite get the corner exit as strongly as Santoro ahead, but those two are fighting over 6th position. Gilioli and Pavlovsky are fighting over 4th position, and Arnaud Lecombe is fighting back the boredom as he once again dominates at the front of the field.
Oh, I just love this. The calibre of the racing just gets better and better and better. I also love the fact that Leonardo Del Calmo, so he, would you believe, is now an engineer, and he's studying composite material and additive manufacturing. So he's clearly a very bright spark and wants to continue racing on track here in the world of esports, as well as obviously in the real world as a composite materialist.
And that's the thing, isn't it, Nick, is that everybody, that we've got different nationalities, different ages, different walks of life, professional and amateur sim racers, and we're all in it for the very same reason. Whoever comes out on top at the end of these 3 races will be doing this for a living, will be paid, will do this as a job to race for Ferrari in the virtual world, and that's quite literally something that money can't buy. This opportunity, it's a door opening for these drivers that basically, if it wasn't for this competition, would be firmly closed, and that is by definition a pretty much once in a lifetime opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it really is. As you say, once in a lifetime, complete game changer, and it's quite incredible that by this time tomorrow we'll almost know who that winner is, and their life will be changed forever. But now we've just got 3 minutes left to conclude today's, or the first of today's race.
Yes, we have, and it's been a great opening to the series once again. So the drivers, again, to remind everybody at home, if you're watching this broadcast and it's your first time in the Ferrari Hublot Esports series, first and foremost, thank you and welcome to the show. Please do feel free to comment in the comments on the platform of choice that you're watching. We've got people from Ferrari that will be in there answering your questions, so do say hello to us. If you've got any questions about the series so far, the car, the drivers, the prize, let us know out on the broadcast as we're riding on board now in 7th position, chasing down Santoro once again. This is a gift that keeps on giving, this fight, Nikki, isn't it? They're separated by next to nothing for basically 25 minutes.
That's what's so good. They try, they keep trying to pass each other, but it's just not happening. The fight is never going to be given up, but Del Calmo doing a sterling job there, trying his best anyway.
Yes, he is indeed. He's in 7th. There are points there, so Del Calmo doing a great job. Not managed to find a way past Santoro just yet, but he continues to apply the pressure, and that's all you can do. You suss out what your rival is capable of doing. You apply the pressure. You keep yourself as close as possible so you can pounce should an opportunity arrive. And Del Calmo now in the bright yellow car that we're looking at now, the number 73 Ferrari 488 Challenge, is doing exactly that. But we're looking at race leader, Frenchman Arnaud Lecombe, a man who's been undefeated in the pre-race championship, and we're going to ride on board for a lap of the Mugello Grand Prix circuit with Arnaud Lecombe. This is San Donato, the opening corner of the lap, coming down from terminal velocity, maximum speed, into second gear. You take a middling line through here so you can get on the throttle and pick it up as early as possible. Very high apex entry speed into the chicane, the left and the right. Here the corner tightens on exit. You've got to be careful not to run onto the inviting gravel trap at the left hand side into the second chicane. Again, very high corner entry speed. Use the curbs to maximum effect as possible. Run wide, maximize the width of the circuit because you need a good run into the right hand, into 4th gear, slight lift on the throttle, balance the car for the second part of the corner. That's what we said at the pre-show. You miss one apex, you've missed 3 apexes. Into into Arabata 1. You've got to keep the car in the middle of the circuit. Pick the throttle up nice and early. Gentle lift, no brakes, a little bit of lift of throttle. Balance the car through the corner. Get on the power very, very early for a hard stop into the right-hander. Down into third gear. A little bit of opposite lock as the car goes light over the brow of the crest of the hill. But that's nothing that Jano Koch needs to worry about at this stage in the race. Again, down into third gear. Keep the car nice and tight on entry. Go wide into the middle so you can square the corner off and get a good run into an almost flat out chicane for the penultimate turn. Just a light feather of the throttle once again to balance the Ferrari 488 Evo Challenge car. The final turn, you can pick your racing line for this corner. Many drivers like to keep a middle line, run out wide at corner exit, and this corner is critical because you've got such a long straight that follows it. You make a small mistake in that turn, you are giving away lap time down this start-finish straight. Jano Koch crosses the finish line. He is the race winner of the opening grand finale round at Mugello. Look at the face of relief. Jano Koch did everything he needed to do and more. Yet again, in the Ferrari Hublot Esports series, we can say Jano Koch is a race winner.
Wow.
Yep, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Gianni Di Salvo crosses the line in second place. Dominic Blager in third. Pavlovsky is in P4. Gianfranco Giglioli in fifth. Santoro sixth. DeMarco in seventh. Lukaszek in 8th, Jano Koch eventually, Nicky gets up to 9th, Marcian Swiderich in P10. What an incredible opening race.
What a brilliant start to the grand final. Some phenomenal racing there today, Paul. But how hard is it going to be for these drivers? Because normally, of course, we only have one race. But these guys have got to kind of forget about the first race, pick themselves up again and get ready to go racing again, because we've got 2 races this evening.
And not only that, they also go from the snappy, sharp, fast lap of Mugello to the absolute mental craziness of the Nordschleife, which could not be any different. So to have gone through the highs and the lows of the racing and then reset yourself, and you're basically taking on arguably the most dramatic test in motorsport, this is going to be fascinating to see how they get on with that transition.
We've seen Jano Koch. He's such a cool driver, isn't he? You know, he never looks stressed, always very calm. Is this track, is the Nordschleife, is that going to suit him, do you think?
I think it's one of those where you throw a coin up in the air and see which way it lands. It's such a specialist track. It's literally anything can happen. There's more corners than I can count up to. There's more opportunities to throw it into the scenery in the biggest way possible. It's just goodness, skill, talent, whatever you want to call it, only goes so far. You need a massive dose of good luck as well. And that's why we love the Nordschleife. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
Brilliant. Well, don't go anywhere, because before all of that drama hopefully unveils during the racing, let's take a look at this wonderful track and our lap track overview.
26 kilometres of absolute craziness is the Nürburgring Nordschleife in Germany. Heading down into the T1 arena, hard braking zone. Get the car over to the right hand side, balance it through the left hander for a good run down into 3, 4 and 5. You need the momentum through this section of corners. You need to balance the car for a good run into the best overtaking opportunity at T6 into the hairpin. Once you come through that corner, you're challenged by the left-right chicane of 7 and 8. Carry the speed through the apex. Carry the speed down the following straight as we're heading into the chicane and saying goodbye to the new Grand Prix circuit and hello to the wonderful Nordschleife at Hatzenbach. Third gear, 110 kilometres an hour. Use the curbs, use the camber, use your bravery to its maximum extent. We're heading down in a floodplatz. Fourth gear, 175 kilometres an hour. The barriers at the side of the circuit ever invited as we go through Arenberg. Second gear, 100 kilometres an hour underneath the bridge into the shade of the trees. Adenauer, you're looking at the sky, then the circuit appears. You're coming down like a roller coaster through the corners, the barriers, the grass, the curbs, ever invited for a massive accident if the careful drivers are a little bit over enthusiastic through this section of the racetrack. Down into one of the quickest parts of Bergwick. Third gear 110 kilometres an hour, but accelerated hard down the following straight to get a good run into a very quick section of the track. You're only just starting your lap at this stage in the race. The Carousel, one of the most famous corners on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. You can balance the car through that section of track to get maximum acceleration, maximum bravery. Leave your brain at home and chance everything through this part of the racetrack. The mini carousel over the concrete. Keep the car nice and neat for the long straight heading down into Dottinger home. Maximum attack. Driver pushing every single bit of lap time they can find. We're about to finalise a lap of one of the craziest, one of the most incredible and amazing racetracks anywhere in the world. The Nürburgring Nordschleife. A wonderful place to go racing.
Right, now we've taken a look at that incredible track that the driver's going to be racing on today. Let's take a look at the qualifying results and see who is going to be starting at the front of the grid in race 2.
Securing pole position at the absolute death was Kamil Pawlowski with an 8:08.707. Arnaud Lecomte is second on the grid with Giovanni Di Salvo lining up at the front of row 2 ahead of Leonardo Dalcamo in 4th position. Danilo Santoro is 5th for Italy with Jano Koch on the back of the 3rd row of the grid in P6. Dominic Bligier in 7th place heads Gianfranco Giglioli in 8th, 4.5 seconds away from provisional pole. Norbert Morvai is 9th for Hungary with Marcian Swideric in 10th position, rounding out the top 10 runners. Marco Pinheiro in P11th is ahead of Ireland's Tarek Gamil in 12th place, 6.8 away from the ultimate pace. All German 13-14th for Torben Petsch and Chris Hockey in 14th place, 7.1 away from the pole, and All Italy in 15-16 with Michael Romangoli and Andrea Benedetti. Josh Martin holds 17th place on the grid and Corrado Ciarello failing to set a representative time in P18th. Wojciech Lukaszek in 19th and Thomas Similia in 20th places on the grid, with 21st taken by Kevin Ciccolari and Cesare Penco from Italy in 22nd place. On the back row of the grid is Jesus Cecilia from Spain, and Giorgio Simonini in 24th rounds out our grid at the Nordschleife.
Right, so super exciting. The drivers are moments away from the lights going green at the Nordschleife, so it is time to hit the track and let the action commence.
And so it begins again. We've moved from the beautiful scenery of Italy and the Mugello Grand Prix circuit to the beautiful scenery of Germany and the legendary, the fearsome, the wonderful Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Grand Prix venue and the historic, the incredible, the immense and the amazing Nordschleife circuit. Nicky, this is an entirely different challenge altogether for our drivers. Qualifying is being separated by next to nothing. This is going to be a barnstorming end to day one of the Grand Finals.
Oh, what a brilliant challenge to the end of today. I mean, winning here is always such a special one because, of course, the track is undoubtedly, it's got to be one of the most demanding in the world. We've got tricky corners, treacherous crests, inclines, gradients. You know it, we've got it. But the drivers are about to have all of this drama unfold in front of them.
They are indeed. This is going to be something spectacular, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself settled down, get a beverage, sit tight, hold tight, and get ready for race 2 of the Grand Finals of the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series from the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And we've got a great start from the entire field. Kamil Pawlowski trying desperately to convert his last-minute pole position into a race lead as we head down into the Grand Prix loop for the very first time. Race 1 winner, Arnaud Lecomte, looks to the outside. Lecomte will get closed down very, very quickly indeed. There's no space there past Pawlowski's number. Whatever it is, Ferrari at the head of the field. Everybody else is finding out behind as they try and find a quick overtaking manoeuvre in the very early portion of this race before we move to the Grand Prix configuration to the major Nordschleife, where the real action happens. Karol Pawlowski retains race lead. Arnaud Lecombe is not used to seeing a car ahead of him, and he makes contact with the back of Pawlowski. Arnaud Lecombe makes contact with Pawlowski, gets collected again by the remainder of the field. This is a significant mistake for both drivers. Pawlowski tumbling down the running order. Arnaud Lecombe tail between his legs, a little bit of damage at the front of the car, manages to keep going, but Nicky, the first mistake we've seen from Lecombe this entire season, and it was a big one.
That is absolutely shocking, considering in qualifying there thousandths of a second between them, and looking at that damage to the car, that's really going to cause Pawlowski more time, and Lecombe down in P3. What an absolute disaster. This is, I think, showing though, the cracks are showing, the pressure is getting to them. They want to win this race, but consequently they were pushing too hard and are now suffering, being down in P3 and P7.
Yep, and the damage both drivers have acquired in that instant is going to be doubly expensive round this, the Nordschleife circuit. There is no room for error. It is twisty, it is tight, it is bumpy. The barriers are ever inviting at the side of the track. Picking up a little bit of understeer or a car that's handling different to what you're used to will cost you buckets of time. So Arnaud Lecombe, very much a man now on the defensive, trying to recover whatever he can. He's in third position at the moment. The stewards will, of course, have a look at that incident to make sure everything was above board. And Karol Pawlowski dropping down from pole position and early race lead into 7th place. Remember, he finished 4th last time out in the opening race at Mugello, so he'll be wanting to move back up again in the running order. He doesn't have the comfort blanket that Lecombe has of an initial race win. But while all that's been happening, that allows Gianni Di Salvo into an early race lead on this opening lap. Di Salvo and Dalcamo are in 1-2. Lecombe under increasing pressure from Santoro in 3-4. And Jano Koch, a driver that unfortunately had an incident in the early running that dropped him down the order and could only recover to 9th, is holding on to 5th position. So high drama. I expected it to come on this part of the racetrack, not the Grand Prix section, but high drama already.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? We've had relatively clean starts for all of the races so far, but, you know, today being the grand final, it's obviously the pressure is getting to them, and poor Lecombe and Pawlowski have suffered as a consequence. Whether or not they can make up the time is going to be really challenging for them. As we know, it's virtually impossible to overtake at a track like this. But if anyone's going to do it, it probably will be Lecombe, because we have seen an absolutely phenomenal performances from him so far. He never seems to get too ruffled and you know, agitated in the cockpit of his car, but who knows what's going to happen. It actually looks like he's doing pretty well here, actually.
He is. He looks like he's chasing down Dalcamo ahead, so I'm interested to see how much understeer as this 488 Challenge Evo picked up from that contact. There are very delicate aerodynamic pieces at the front of these cars. Contact with the back of Pawlowski was significant contact, but it doesn't look like it's slowing Lecombe at this stage in the race. The car looks reasonably well balanced. There's a little bit of understeer, but as soon as you start to understand that as a driver, then you can accommodate for it in your driving style. You can accommodate for it in the way that you lap the circuit. Lecombe looks like he's assimilated that information very, very quickly, put it through his racing computer brain, and now knows how to behave in the car, and immediately goes on the attack. So Dalcamo ahead. Dalcamo's in the yellow Ferrari that you can see in front of us now. We're riding on board with Lecombe. Lecombe looks like he's got enough pace in the car to challenge the driver ahead of him. The question is, can he find a way past cleanly, and can he do it soon enough to have anything left in the tank for Gianni Di Salvo, who currently leads to the tune of 1.5 seconds, as we're about a third of the way, believe it or not, through the opening lap of this race.
I love it, how we are still on the opening lap. We need to do a calculation, don't we? In half an hour, how many laps are we going to get in? Will we get 4 in? Not quite. But it's brilliant to see these guys racing at this track. Such a historic track, a really demanding one. And I'm hoping that they're going to be having a bit of fun in the driving seat as well, as the coping with the stress that this track brings. I'm sure, hopefully, they're enjoying it as much as anything.
And look at that, actually we saw Lecom much faster than Dalcamo ahead through the carousel. Unfortunately, he comes to a very quick and tight section of circuit straight after that famous carousel corner where there's not really a lot of opportunity to get too wide, but the amount of speed, additional speed, the Frenchman could put through that section of corners really bodes well for a good opportunity. All Lecom needs to do is remain within striking distance. When we get to the long back straight, that will be his opportunity. He will have stripped the wing out of the car to give him enough straight line advantage when following in somebody's slipstream. But you can see Dalcamo now going a little bit wide, taking a little bit more chance with the width of the racetrack, whereas Lecom stays a little bit tighter in the corner, gives himself a little bit more room to run wide or make a mistake. The problem with Dalcamo's line there, when you're so close to the edge of the track, if you miss your turning or carry just a couple of kilometres more speed than you need into the corner, you'll be heading straight to the scene of the accident, where Lecom has bought himself a little bit of a comfort blanket by keeping it slightly tighter on the racetrack, and that doesn't seem to be holding him up at the moment. And Karol Pawlowski, our other driver that got involved in opening lap shenanigans, is also on the attack. He's chasing Norbert Morvai. Remember, Norbert Morvai was in the middle of absolutely every fight on the circuit last time out until fading towards the end of the race. So Pawlowski, carrying significant damage in his black Ferrari, is trying to find his way back up into the top six, and hopefully for him towards the podium positions. He's still got a lot of time left to do it. He can see the cars ahead of him as they go through the mini carousel. So Pawlowski charging hard in this early stages of the race.
Such an exciting race, and we did actually think we'd see the cars spread out quite a lot relatively quickly, but actually it's not happening quite yet. They are still really nose to tail in some parts of the track, up the grid, but I just absolutely love this race. It's such a challenge, isn't it, of man against machine, or should we be saying women and man against machine? I don't know what the politically correct thing is to say, but it's just brilliant. And of course, us got to make sure that every turn you do to perfection, you mustn't overdo it, but you also want to be right on the edge, and it's just about keeping it smooth, keeping it tidy, and getting the most out of the car to edge your way to the front of the grid.
And it is a one man who's edging his way, start that again with my teeth in. One man who is hedging his way towards the front of the grid is Arnaud Lecom. As predicted on the long back straight, he used the slipstream to fantastic effect and is now in P2. At the same time, Karol Pawlowski also pulled off exactly the same move behind on Norbert Morvai, so they are now P2 and P6 after their initial contact. So that's a good clean overtake for both drivers. Lecom has 2.3 seconds he needs to find in the next 21 minutes. Dalcamo, Santoro and Koch are as one behind them. Now we're looking at Santoro on the defensive from Jano Koch behind. Santoro trying to retain position, aggressively defending the inside line, swings back onto the racing line, leaves no space for Koch. Koch makes a little bit of contact as we go on to the second part of the Grand Prix circuit. That opens the door from Santoro. Jano Koch now on the outside. Santoro holds the inside line, holds the car on the brakes and retains fourth position, but Jano Koch desperate, absolutely desperate to start making headway. He doesn't want Dalcamo and company ahead to get too far up the road, and he knows this modern Grand Prix circuit layout that we're currently on now offers the safest and most comfortable overtaking opportunities. If you can get the business done on here, the next part of the lap will be oh so much more simple for you as a driver. But Jano Koch not quite managing to achieve that one, despite a little bit of a hip and shoulder on the car above, and retains fifth position, and the fight goes on.
Brilliant to see Jano Koch back up there after a bit of a disappointing start to the day out at Mugello. Interesting to see that Sorello, he's down in the pits at the moment. Does that mean he's out of the race?
Oh, that's a shame for Sorello. Yeah, like I say, pit lane, I'm afraid that is pretty much game over in a short race like this one for him. So, yeah, real shame to see a retirement so early in the race, and that's pretty much put paid to any solid result of this championship, hasn't it?
Yeah, that is a very good point, actually, because of course we have just got these three races in the grand final. 75 points up for grabs, and it is basically the winner takes all. The driver with the most points will be crowned the champion of the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series and win that coveted place in the Ferrari Driver Academy Sports Team. Epic prize, and we're not that far away from finding out who the winner is.
No, we're not indeed. Nürburgring Nordschleife, and this is a track that is very, very different to anything our esport competitors have faced so far in this series. Qualifying was separated by basically a little bit of enthusiasm. The drivers are nose to tail at several parts of the racetrack. The fighting has been just as hard. I anticipated this to be a little bit more of a processional race, a fight of driver versus track rather than driver versus driver, but we're seeing some great action so far. This is our race leader that you are looking at now. So this is DeSalvo, currently in first position. He's got just under 2 seconds to Arnaud Lecomte. Now Lecomte, remember, is a man that basically won everything there is to win. He's that successful, he even turns up in server first, never mind when the racing action gets going. But can Lecomte, after his mistake, carrying a little bit of damage, and also with half an eye on the overall championship, can he overcome this 1 second deficit? Can he find a way past Gianni DeSalvo in the next 18 minutes or so? We will find out as Jano Koch, now look at that once again, that's concentration. He's probably the most focused looking sim racer in our series. Really hard attention on what's happening on the circuit.
Absolutely, I love it though as well. He has the lights down really low, so you can just see the glare of the screen lights on his face there. Looks brilliant. But going back to what you were saying, I think with Lecomte, I mean, look, he's already come down 0.8 of a second behind DeSalvo. I think, I'm going to call it, I think he can do it. I think he can take this win. We've seen Lecomte, he's taken every other win so far in this series. DeSalvo, though, interestingly, if he did win today, Lecomte and DeSalvo would be on a joint level on points. So we would go into the final race of the grand final with those two drivers on level playing field, which would be really exciting to see. So I kind of hope that it stays like this for this race.
Yeah, that is a tantalising prospect indeed to see this level of proximity on the circuit and on the scoreboards as well. Arnaud Lecomte is a smart driver. He'll know what the maths mean. He'll know that this is more than just track position in today's race. Gianni DeSalvo has been gifted this opportunity. He will be trying absolutely every trick in the book. He'll be calling upon all his natural speed. As he makes a mistake, DeSalvo runs wide, touches the grass, makes a mistake that allows Lecomte to close right up to the rear of the Ferrari ahead. So DeSalvo now is starting to show the pressure. Oh, so simple at this circuit. A little mistake, a massive consequence. DeSalvo should count himself lucky that he's still on the racetrack, but now that 1 second buffer has turned into nothing, and just like a shark that smells blood in the water, Arnaud Lecomte can sense this race is coming back to him. The opportunity is starting to present itself, and Arnaud Lecomte means business. Look how aggressive, look at the car, the body language of the car. He's not going to sit there and take the points for second. He's going to give his all, and this is going to turn into a fight of fights. Arnaud Lecomte concentrated behind the steering wheel, looking one way, looking the other, trying to find an opportunity. Does he wait for the straight, or does he go for it in one of the corners? That is a decision that he's not yet made, but one thing is for sure, DeSalvo is under all the pressure in the world at the moment.
Oh, he really is, and I love that analogy. He is just like a shark. I think Lecomte would have to be a great white shark in this race for sure, but brilliant that he's putting the pressure on, but he just always does it with such ease. You know, he really never looks like under too much stress. He keeps it smooth, he keeps it nice and tidy, but is clearly putting the pressure on DeSalvo. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing him make a move.
Yep, absolutely, and this is something that Ferrari will be looking at very, very closely indeed. Lecomte made a small mistake, as we saw at the beginning of the race, but the way he's recovering, he's not showing the pressure, he's not getting sloppy on the drive, he's just going about the business, and that is something that Ferrari will be very, very interested to observe from Arnaud Lecomte's performance here. Gianni DeSalvo, meanwhile, given an opportunity, has made a mistake and lost time. Yes, it's only a small mistake. Around a track like this where it's 8 minutes and 10-second lap time, there's 100 and something corners. One small run wide isn't much, but it's a run wide more than Arno Lecombe's done. And now we're seeing he's going to push very, very hard through his final corner. He's a little bit further away than he would like, but he will immediately plant his car directly behind De Salvo's car ahead. The slipstream, for anybody at home, not sure what that means, the dirty air, the car ahead is pushing through, will go around the vortexes, will go around the car, that will open up a gap in the air that the car behind could suck into and allow Lecombe to go faster in a straight line, which will allow him to go quicker and close up to De Salvo's car ahead that's pushing his own way through the air. That will give him an advantage, and that's exactly what Arno Lecombe will try and maximise during this early portion of the lap, to artificially bring his car closer, to put him within striking distance. Then looking at Dalcro behind, he's far enough behind, he's not in contention, so this is a 1-2 fight to the absolute death. As we're seeing now, that's Josh Martin making his way past Josh Martin with now his customary whole load of damage on the Ferrari. Makes no overtake sideways against Dominic Blager. Brilliant driving from Josh Martin, retiree in race 1. He'll be looking for a solid result to get his challenge back on track, but he's having to go defensive. Coming down into the arena on the Grand Prix circuit, Josh Martin to the inside will want to be as late as he possibly can. The Polish driver on the outside of the racetrack closes down the line aggressively. Martin has his car in position. He gives enough racing room. He's now on the outside, but he's got enough of an overlap. Josh Martin once again, fight. Exciting times. Blager on the inside. Martin has to concede this one surely, or can he hold the car around the outside? Yes, he can. The outside becomes the inside. Josh Martin unbelievably retains that position, and that's a fight that's lasted 5 corners and is still going on. Martin now on the inside as we go back onto the Grand Prix circuit, just about holds onto that position.
Oh, brilliant action. I absolutely love this track. It just, the amount of corners and how perfectly positioned the cars are, have to be perfectly positioned right in place to make sure that that sequence of turns just continues. Wonderful to see. Gotta say, we've got Tariq Gamal, who's also another DNF, so he's out from the race, unfortunately. And also you probably see that we don't necessarily have a full grid of driver lineups lining up today, and that's because a few of them did have some other sort of family and personal reasons that they had to, that was what took them away from the racing today. I think they were pretty disappointed, but yeah, nonetheless, I'm sure they'll be watching and supporting the drivers who are going to be battling it out today on track.
Yeah, shame to see that we've not got quite a full house, but look at this. This driver, this man, Pinheiro, has got the best seats in the house. Fantastic pictures as we're looking ahead at Martin and Blager fighting it out for 11th position. So we're on board with Pinheiro in 13th. You've seen the 2 cars in front making light contact, getting sideways, going side to side. This fight is incredible. They think they're racing on something like the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, not an 8-minute long Nordschleife lap, fighting for every single thing they've got. Both cars have got a little bit of damage. Both are running suboptimal. At the moment, Josh Martin is leading this train of cars, but one mistake from Martin, one out of position manoeuvre, and he's going to start plummeting back. Look, Martin struggling for straight line speed, manages to lose position unbelievably in a straight line from Dominic Blager, so that allows Pinheiro to close himself back up again. Marco Pinheiro, can he find a way past Scotland's Josh Martin before we get to the next significant braking zone? Martin struggling with damage. Look at the windshield, all cracked and broken. There's been some significant impacts for Martin, but he's gamely plucking on, trying to continue this run, get himself. The thing about the Nordschleife is stay in the race, because anything could happen. All may feel lost, but very, very quickly and very, very easily you can find yourself in the points if there are problems with drivers ahead. So Martin trying his very best to stay on the racetrack and see what comes his way.
Yeah, I mean, and with this, we've heard from the drivers as well, it's all about practice. They've had to put in hours and hours of time to get up to speed with, learning every single corner of this track. It's difficult, it's really challenging, but hopefully that practice is paying off here today.
Yep, it's one of those circuits where You love it or you hate it. There's no real middle ground. You don't go into the Nürburgring and think, yeah, I'm either way on this. It's the kind of circuit so different. It's closer to rallying, realistically, than it is to race car driving. And it either clicks with you or it doesn't. It's a very, very different experience for the drivers from what we've seen, certainly in the Ferrari Hublot Esports series. And because of that, there will be some drivers in this field that they've just not got the kind of experience of their rivals because they naturally don't gravitate towards it. They naturally don't enjoy driving it either for pleasure or in other competitions. So that has an incredible difference on how you approach one of these races. A good driver will always be a good driver, will always be at the front of the field, but if you're racing someone that drives almost weekly at the Nordschleife and you've just driven it once or twice a year and put the practice in for this race, you cannot know the 160 something corners. You cannot know that like the back of your hand, like you can on a traditional 18, 22 turn circuit. And all these things need to be filtered in because as well as driving and trying to work out where you are on the track and get the most from your lap time, then you're racing your rivals and you've got the pressure of the championship, etc, etc. So an incredible challenge that should not be understated how well all of these drivers are doing, and this man in particular, Arnaud Lecombe and Gianni Di Salvo in second and race lead respectively, still separated by nothing, but Lecombe not managed to find a way past yet, and that's bringing Dalcamo and Santoro into the fight as well. So a two-way fight, I suggested half a lap ago, is starting slowly but surely to become a 3, 4 and 5 car battle for the race lead.
Wow, now that would be exciting. It's great to see Jano Koch there still battling it out in P5. It will be very interesting if he can just get a podium finish. That will really help him in his challenge, contention for this, the grand prize, the winning, of course, to be part of the Ferrari Driver Academy and be part of the esports team. What a prestigious prize it is. So it means so much to these drivers. And they've done so well. They've come so far. We started this series back in September and now we're in November. We've been doing this week after week, and the progress has been amazing. But obviously, when you put so much into it, it just means so much. There's so much at stake for these drivers.
There is, and there'll be plenty of drivers this evening when the race finishes in 6 minutes and 56 seconds time. They'll be having a relax, taking a drink, considering everything they've gone through. But don't forget, they're back again tomorrow night as well. So if you're watching this broadcast, by the way, and enjoying it, thank you very much and welcome. Don't forget, we're back again for the final race from Monza tomorrow night at the same time, 1800 CET. So come and join us for that one. All is not over for these drivers. These two races have been incredible and remain incredible for the last 6.5 minutes, but we've still got one final throw of the dice to come, and a driver such as we're riding on board with now, Arnaud Lecombe, will be well aware of that one. He'll be frustrated that he's second, he'll be annoyed that he's going into the final round equal on points, but at the same time he's got to start thinking now, Nicky, surely, do I risk it for the overtake or do I take the points and then take the fight into Monza tomorrow night?
Oh, it's a very good question, and I do not know the answer to that, which is why I'm not a driver coach or sitting as an engineer giving advice. Yeah, but you're completely right, though. But the problem is, if he doesn't put all of it, everything into it today, then that might cost him the win tomorrow, because, it could be won and lost at any point in this championship, which is why you've always got to bring your A game. Of course, qualifying tomorrow will also be crucial in gaining, track position and starting in pole position, which again we have seen from Lecombe. Arnaud Lecombe is starting in pole position, I think, all races apart from today. So perhaps this just is a track that maybe doesn't suit him quite as well as the other tracks that we've seen him do so well at in the past.
Yeah, you've made a really fair point there. Championships can be won or lost on singular point digits. So Arnaud Lecombe at the moment is on course for 18 points. It is 25 for the win. Can he afford to give those points up to his main rival? I fear he thinks he can't, and is starting to look to attack Di Salvo ahead of him. So Lecombe, the Frenchman, in the yellow Ferrari, chasing down Giovanni Di Salvo ahead in the red Ferrari. We're on. He makes contact. Lecombe again makes a light bit of contact to his rival behind. DeSalvo recovers very nicely indeed, thank you very much. Doesn't lose any time, but that's again a second slight misjudgment from Arnaud Lecomte. Very, very easy to do in the braking zone at that part of the racetrack, but he's got to be careful now, Lecomte. He doesn't want more damage. He doesn't want the attention of the stewards. He doesn't want a mistake. More than anything else, he does not want to lose this track position. And Arnaud Lecomte very much in attack mode. Maximum attack, as Mika Häkkinen used to say, and that is a mantra that Arnaud Lecomte is applying with gusto into what is going to be the final few minutes of this race. Will he make his way past? Will the chasing pack become a 4 and 5 car race, or will it all end in tears? Stay tuned, because we will find out soon.
In approximately 3 minutes and 51 seconds, actually. Yeah, we will. It's so exciting. I really actually hope they do come on, tied on points after this race, because it would make tomorrow an absolutely epic battle between the two of them.
Yeah, that's and Monza as well, a slipstream in heaven, where really you don't want to be the leading car, you want to be second or third on the final lap. So that's another very, very interesting dynamic that's going to get thrown out there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. We've still got more than enough racing to do. I mean, we've only got 3.5 minutes, but when you count the number of corners, we've got probably 3 Grand Prix distances worth of lefts and rights to go through. And Arnaud Lecomte doesn't seem to be hindered any by the damage that he sustained earlier in the race and the little contact he's just made there. So this is the final lap. This is the last time now that these cars will be going over the jump into the right-hander, balancing the car. Very scary in real life, that corner. There is no runoff whatsoever. Flat chat now. Lecomte looking for the slipstream. DeSalvo has been almost faultless throughout this race, so it's going to be, Nicky, one of these opportunities where there's no such thing as a clear pass. He's going to have to force the issue. And what would you do as a driver? What would you do? Take the points or take the chance?
Well, I think you've got to take the chance, haven't you? Because, we're almost at the end of this battle. If this was halfway through the season, I'd say take the points. But, the points aren't any good for you at the moment if you don't take the risks to bag them. So, I think you've got to just take the risks when you're at this point in the championship.
Well, I cannot wait to see what decision Lecomte makes to complicate matters somewhat. Now, Dalcamo, very quietly, under the radar, has been going about his business in third and is rapidly closing down these two race leaders, taking Santoro and, of course, our AM Series champion, Jano Koch, with him in third, fourth and fifth. Kamil Pawlowski, the injured party from the opening lap contact for race lead, is holding on to sixth position. But there you can throw a blanket over those cars, and they are very, very quickly starting to get up and into the leader's position on track. So Lecomte will see that. He'll be aware of how close his rivals are closing up to the back of his car, and this is so difficult to decide what to do. If you make a half-hearted overtake that doesn't come off, instead of staying in second position and throwing away your chance for a win, theoretically you could very easily drop down to sixth place. So Lecomte now has got to start rolling that dice. Does he feel lucky? We'll find out soon, but this is an incredibly intense way to end day one of finals day on the Ferrari Hublot Esports series from the Nordschleife.
It is indeed, and it's such a legendary circuit as well. It's been amazing to see how these drivers have really embraced the challenge of the Nordschleife, and I hope they are enjoying it as much as we are watching it, because it looks like there's been a lot of fantastic racing out on track, and hopefully, as much as the pressure has got to them, they've been able to sit back and enjoy some of this wheel-to-wheel racing as well.
Yeah, some precision driving from the entirety of the field that are still running at this moment in time. Roman Garley and Dominic Bligier as well have retired from this race off camera. So it's a shame for those two drivers. We're looking at Jano Koch now. Jano Koch in fifth position in the yellow Ferrari has decided that he wants to climb over the top of Santoro in fourth place behind. So Koch looking to recover. Remember, he had a nightmare opening race at Mugello. He's one of the drivers that we thoroughly expected to be at the sharp end of the grid. Koch in fifth position, ninth in race one. He needs every single point available to him and more. What he's finding now to his advantage is Santoro and Dalcamo ahead and beginning to get involved in each other's space. So Jano needs to stay calm, needs to use the double slipstream effect from these two cars and see if he can find a way past not one but two drivers to get himself firmly onto the podium positions. Ahead, Arnaud Lecomte, 0.5 of a second in arrears now, so he's pretty much, I think, given up any ambition at taking this race victory. So the fight now is here. Is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th position cars all line astern, nose to tail on the final lap. Who will blink first? Who will take the chance? And who will take the reward of a handful of points in this final few moments of this race?
I'm going to go, it's going to be DeSalvo. Because Lecomte, it looks like he's now backed off a little bit. He was just a couple of tenths behind him, and now he's 9 tenths behind DeSalvo, so I just don't think that's going to be enough to make that move stick. Jano Koch, however, is keeping things nice and lively for us until that checkered flag.
Here's good old Jano Koch again, AM Series champion, very fast driver on the recovery at the moment, holding 5th position. Actually, Santoro there, I see Dalcamo has gone off the racetrack in the final moments of the race. Dalcamo has gone off from 3rd position. That promotes Santoro to 3rd, Koch to 4th, Pawlowski to 5th position. He's on 6th at the moment. Morvai a little bit too far behind to take advantage, so Dalcamo unfortunately drops the car on the final lap, and this is why this track is so important to keep concentrated. One small mistake, but on a Grand Prix specification circuit will just run you wide and straight back onto the track. Here you are going to talk to some steel, and that is not a good thing for a racing car or a racing driver, and the price has been paid. Dalcamo drops to 6th position, and Santoro looks around in bewilderment with a podium his for the taking.
Oh, what a brilliant end. Oh, such a tough one for Dalcamo to take there. But, as we said, clearly I'm giving the wrong advice, which was to just take the risk. Obviously, that's what can happen when you take the risk. Mistakes can be made. And then, he's dropped down into P6. But what a result for the others.
And Kamil Pawlowski finds a way past Jano Koch right at the very death for 4th position. The slipstream to good effect for Kamil Pawlowski, recovers into 4th place just behind the back of the podium chaser. Giglioli makes a move on Morvai as well into 7th place, but that is no problem up front because Gianni DeSalvo takes race victory at the Nürburgring Nordschleife for the second of 3 races on finals day at the Ferrari Hublot Esports Series. Our runaway championship leader up to this point, Arnaud Lecomte, crosses the line in 2nd position. In 3rd place and rounding out the podium places is Danilo Santoro. Kamil Pawlowski, with that last minute overtake, takes 4th. Jano Koch recovers to 5th. Dalcamo in 6th. Giglioli 7th. In 8th position, Norbert Morvai. Hoke in 9th and Swinnerich in 10th place. And Nicky, we wondered if it would be good, we wondered if it would be crazy, and it was both.
It was indeed. So much drama on track, but huge congratulations to DeSalvo there. Phenomenal win. He had a really good start there, took advantage of the sort of little mistake there that Arnaud Lecomte made. It'd be great to see what happened in that in a replay perhaps a bit later. But this makes it really spicy. This makes it really interesting because DeSalvo and Lecomte are now drawn on points, and that means we're going to have a fantastic race tomorrow.
So there we have it. Arnaud Lecomte and Gianni DeSalvo are joint championship leaders after the first 2 races of the season on 43 points. Kamil Pawlowski, despite the strife that he found himself in at the Nordschleife, is 3rd place with 24 points, only a single point ahead of Danilo Santoro in 4th position. Gianfranco Giglioli takes 16 points from the first 2 races to be ahead of Dominic Blagier on 15, with Leonardo Dalcamo on 14 points, and Jano Koch, a man who I had my eye on as a championship challenger, with 10 points. Wojciech Ludzik with 4, Norbert Morvai with 4, Marcin Swinnerich on 3, Chris Hockey on 2, Thomas Sibilia 1 are the points scorers from the first 2 races. And of course, we've got Monza tomorrow evening, where absolutely anything could happen, and these points could change in a heartbeat. So, a very intense and a very tight start to finals weekend.
Well, there we have it. 2 of the 3 races in the grand finals are down. Tough start in the day, wasn't it, for Jano Koch? But solid performance once again from Arnaud Lecombe. Paul.
Yeah, fantastic races, fantastic action as always. And Nikki, very excitingly, the final of the final of the final is tomorrow, and it's Monza.
It is indeed so exciting. Make sure you put it in your diary. It's going to be at 8 o'clock Central European time. So we will see you there.